of Willem's endless operations because now Willem has to spend the rest of his life in a hospital bed. But the three of us, we would all walk to preschool together, and for the last walk, Jake would ride on Willem's shoulders. It was this tradition that gave them both on enormous pride, but I'm not strong enough to carry my son on my shoulders. And he doesn't want me to. That's not my job. That's not my job. I mean, this is just moving really fast for me, and I'm not prepared. I mean, we all will die. So why is this so difficult to talk about? I mean, how do you tell a child of almost 4 years old about stitches in his father's head and about radiation and chemotherapy? When a child is so used to a parent's hand and facial gestures, when his father suddenly isn't there to let him sit on his shoulders anymore and refuses to watch any sports on TV when he used to sit for hours with his son on his knee, how do you explain? Do you live in the moment? Because all you have is the day. We're all terminal. That night, as I put Jake to bed, oh, he cried. He said, "I hate sick Daddy. I miss my tall Daddy." Willem, he used to read to Jake every single night. Curious George in Dutch. And now the only way I'm able to get Jake to fall asleep is to tell him story after story about when he was this fat baby, you know? It's the same with Willem. He stays up late, agitated by the steroids. So I try to remind him of things like our first married summer. We would sit outside and we would play ping pong and we would eat strawberries until the sun went down, and then finally, Willem would fall asleep. About a week before Jake's 4th birthday, he announced that he wanted a cake in the shape of a fire truck. I'm not a baker. But my son wanted a cake in the shape of a fire truck, so I made him one. I used practically a whole bottle of red dye in the frosting, which would appall me in earlier days, but I figured that since Willem grew up on the Tierra's whole wheat bread and beef salad, maybe junk food was the key to a long life. This cake was my offering to my son for what I knew would be his last birthday with his father. I remember lighting candles, and Jake, he closed his eyes, and he made a wish, and he opened them and blew them all out. And ever since then, he makes wishes on anyone's lit candles, and fluffy dandelions, and eyelashes. I've learned something. It's the little things in life that we tend to remember in the end, like Curious George and Dutch, or fire truck cakes. But somehow we always seem to forget to treasure those moments as they come, and we forget how short life really is. And then all we're left with is the memory. At 5 o'clock one afternoon, I went to go pick up Jake from camp, and he could not wait to tell Willem all about playing with his friends and kickball, and so we'd have been home for an hour, and I felt like I should go check on Willem, right? So I walk into his room, and he is still as a boy. His breathing was really shallow, and he had turned his hands inward. But you know, I have never been so calm in my entire life. It was as if this were the natural place where we had been having. I remember walking into Jake. Jake. Daddy's gonna stop breathing soon. Why don't you come with me? And then Jake climbed on top of Willem's bed. He just started kissing him all over the face. And that's when Willem stopped breathing. But that night, we held each other, me and Jake. And in one hand, Jake had the tape recording of Willem reading Curious George to him in Dutch.